everybody, and welcome back to Blue Jays Today, where today, guys, we are doing another Blue Jays Today show talking about the upcoming series, the biggest series yet for your Toronto Blue Jays. Every other week we have a biggest series that just trumps the previous one, but this one has serious postseason implications because with it, depending on how many games we win, how many games we lose, it could impact the AL East standings. And of course, we're going to talk about everyone's favorite topic, the bullpen, and how that's redefining we're looking at this Toronto Blue Jays team, and of course who's doing great in the offense. But before we get into it all, please, I encourage you guys to hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and also if you're rewatching this, hit the hype button if you got it down below. Obviously I'm still out here in BC. Nick's been carrying the workload, so W's in the chat for Nick, holding down the fort while I'm waking up at 5 a.m. and I'm talking with a crappy microphone that cuts out all the time.
Yeah. Fingers crossed that does not happen. But if it does, and we're live right now, please let us know in the chat, and we will fix it pretty much immediately. Who is this new guy? Where is Belford? Yeah, Belford stepped in for a little while. He did really well. At first, you guys were definitely giving him the business, but honestly, like as time went on, he went on to have a really good time, and I'm happy that all of you enjoyed his coverage as well, everybody. We were live for that Tuesday game, Adam, and the offense of the Toronto Blue Jays came to life. I mean, they've been alive for a large part of this season, but honestly, like, with the bullpen being the way that the bullpen is being right now, with the starting pitching actually not being that great either recently, that offense is what we are living and we are dying by. And that Tuesday and that Wednesday game, it was clear that the strategy is we just score way more than you and we will win. And in fact, I was at Baseball Town last night, and this feels like it should be the case, but just to further hammer the point home, Blue Jays are 14-0 this year when we score double-digit runs. So when we put up double-digit runs, we are going to win the ball game.
Makes sense. I mean, that one loss has got to be heartbreaking. Like, you did all that work for nothing, right? But, I mean, yeah, you saw that on the Tuesday game. I watched the Tuesday, the Wednesday. Actually, I think I watched all three games, and all of them had their own story. But the main two were, we just had to literally outscore everybody, which is a little bit concerning. It's easy to say, just who cares about the bullpen and the starting pitching and how many runs they give up when we'll just score more than them. Obviously, you're not going to get that all the time because you're going to be up against some pretty damn good pitching in the postseason. But, I mean, hey, offense coming back to life. They had a little cold stretch there, so it's good to see them coming back. And you saw that in that final game as well.
Well, and even though you're not going to necessarily get that every single time, there are arguments to be said as to why you will get that more times than you may expect. The first thing that we're going to flash up right here, everybody, just to kind of zoom out and understand how good of a season the Toronto Blue Jays are still having, even though there's been some question marks recently. The fewest games to 80 wins in Blue Jays history. As you can see, the Toronto Blue Jays are third on that list in 2025. They are tied with 1992. They are also tied with 1984, and there is no other 2000s era in here at all. So this 2025 team, you can make a strong argument, has been the best up until this point since those early 90s squads. And a big reason why is, of course, the offense. Recently, I've been getting into doing a bunch of kind of fun, silly graphics. So if you guys follow us on Instagram or Twitter, you will see them. If you don't already follow us on Instagram or Twitter, then please go check them out. But I posted this out yesterday. Wanted most lethal offense in baseball. Crimes committed. This is since the All-Star break. The Toronto Blue Jays, this kind of blew me away. They are first in batting average, first in on-base percentage, first in slugging, and first in OPS. And as a team, they have an OPS of 856 and a batting average of 294. And the All-Star break, let me remind everybody, that was over a month ago. That was a month and a half ago at this point. So it's not like this is a 1 week or 2 week sample size. This is a month and a half of ball where the Toronto Blue Jays as a team are batting almost 300 and have an OPS that would send you to the All-Star game if you were an individual. So I know that you said that it's like, well, we can't rely on scoring double-digit runs in the playoffs and everything like that. However, I will also argue that this team, it lives and dies by this right here, the offense.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, what's more important in the postseason? People might get on me for this, but I think it's a pretty strong opinion. You got to score freaking runs to win a freaking baseball game. You know, I mean, hell, even when we're like watching our live play-by-play, it's, we got runs. I'm always thinking, well, that's okay because we had to score runs anyways. So like, you're not going to win a game if you don't score any runs. So yeah, I mean, the fact that they are number one since the All-Star break is phenomenal.
In everything,
now, I know in everything, which is freaking phenomenal, and I do have faith that will continue because we've been seeing this all season long. Like, it's not like the bullpen right now where everyone's falling off at once. I hope to God that doesn't happen, but I feel strong with that. But it would be nice to not have to sweat every single at bat and every single inning out because we just gave up 2 in the previous inning, and then our starter gets blown up, and then we bring in the bullpen, and I'm not feeling good, and there's no reliable guys. I think everyone agreed we'd prefer that to be true.
Well, and I do tend to agree with you. However, in this upcoming series against the New York Yankees, we are going to be sweating every single at-bat. We are going to be sweating every single inning because that team right now, and we're going to talk very in-depth about how they're playing in relation to the Toronto Blue Jays, what is going to mean if we win this series, lose this series. But short answer, Yankees are fucking awesome right now. They are playing some incredible ball, and the Toronto Blue Jays pitching staff obviously is not. Blue Jays Village posted this. They said that they also have, this is the Toronto Blue Jays, the 26th worst ERA in August with an ERA of 4.94. Only the White Sox, Pittsburgh, Colorado, and Miami have done worse. Now, they're talking about the bullpen, and they're replying to themselves because the initial thing that they said was that lots of people are saying the Jays bullpen is overworked. Well, in reality, they are 28th in MLB in innings logged in August. And they're on to something there because that has been, I guess, the biggest excuse that's kind of been coming out recently, which is, well, bullpen's not playing so awesome because they have so many innings under their belt, because they've done so much up until this point of the season. And whilst that can be true for some of the guys, I mean, especially in April, Jeff Hoffman was probably getting used more than he should have been. There was a couple times where it was like, oh, he's out there for 2 innings. And I think that's a fair argument to make. I don't think that you can say that for everyone in this bullpen. And I also find it hard to believe that those, extra innings that Hoffman did in April are making that much of an impact now at the beginning of September. So, I mean, I want to pick your brain here. Overall thoughts on that as the reason to why this Jays bullpen is not performing well right now.
I think it's an excuse, especially lately. I mean, that conversation has come up again. It's like every time the bullpen struggles and it's like, oh, they're getting overworked. That could be true, but everybody gets overworked. Every bullpen in baseball gets overworked. That's why everyone needs to trade for bullpen pieces. That's why everyone needs to go and go to the deepest, darkest parts of their minor league system and go find bullpen pieces, because everybody gets overworked. It's all about how you can game manage. I think John Schneider has done a great job managing. Like, people sometimes get frustrated that, like, oh, why are we putting out Brendan Little in this spot? Well, because everyone is getting overworked and we need to rest everybody so that we got to play Brendan Little. It's up to the individual to play better. And you see on that graphic that you pulled up right there, they're actually very rested compared to the rest of MLB. And then overall, I think they're 13th in baseball in total innings pitched out of that bullpen. So for me, there's no excuse. I'm sorry, you just got to play better bullpen.
Yeah, and you are correct about that. They're tied for 13th with the exact same amount as the San Francisco Giants. This is on the season for the bullpen. So, yeah, it's not like I think that if they were, up here with the LA Dodgers, who have, their relievers pitched 573.1 innings, the most in baseball, maybe you could make that argument, but they're not. And, I see a lot of teams ahead of us here that their bullpens don't seem to be falling apart. Like Milwaukee, for instance. Their relievers have pitched the 3rd most in all of baseball, and I can assure you that their bullpen is doing just fine right now. So if they can do it, why can't we do it? I also think that this whole argument that people make about how, well, John Schneider, if the whole thing is we're overworking them and people are getting on John Schneider for overworking the pen, like, zoom out for a second and look where we are. Okay, we're first in the division. We have 80 wins. Like, if he's been overworking them, well, up until this point, to his credit, it's actually been working. because we've been winning more ball games than we won last year. So I think he's managing the bullpen just fine.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't put any of this on John Schneider. I don't put any of the poor performances on John Schneider. I think that what it really boils down to, like you said, is like these individuals have to play better. I think that we talked about this on the Monday show. If we didn't, I know that I talked about it on the radio, but the Toronto Blue Jays bullpen at the beginning of the season, all of their swing and miss stuff, all of their chase rate, all of their whiff rate, that was really high. That was through the roof. And then recently, as time has gone on, people aren't swinging as much at their, pitchers' pitches. People aren't chasing as much. And across the board, the Toronto Blue Jays bullpen is on the decline when it comes to swing and miss, chase, whiff, all of those key statistics that you look at when you're evaluating bullpen pieces. And alternatively, what's on the rise is their walk rate. So it feels like, as a whole, people around the league are realizing how you handle this Toronto Blue Jays bullpen. And now it really boils down to Pete Walker and those individuals, Brendan Little, Hoffman, Louis Varland, those guys, they got to all sit down, and then they got to make that switch, right? They have to make their adjustment. We've seen some of our hitters do it all season long. Addison Barger has been making adjustments all season. Now it's time for Brendan Little. Now it's time for Jeff Hoffman to make those adjustments as well, because you're right. I mean, we can't really score 12 runs a game. I jest, but we're not going to put up double-digit runs every single game. And even though we live and die by the offense, having just a little bit of support from the pen would go a long way.
Yeah, well, going all the way back to what you were saying, I wanted to jump in there. They're not throwing strikes. They're not getting ahead, right? Like, when you're not throwing strikes and you're not getting ahead, you're going to find yourself walking more, and you're going to find yourself guys just taking more. Because if you're not throwing strikes, well, I'll just keep taking.
Right.
I hate to single out Brendan Little all the time because he is the most obvious, because his splits are so drastic in terms of people not swinging and missing and then getting his walk rate up. But everybody's dealing with it right now. Yariel's been dealing with it a lot. There was times where Fluharty was dealing with it. Everybody's had a moment. Jeff Hoffman actually is around the zone quite a lot, if you believe it or not, but he's just getting hit hard, and that's his big problem.
Right.
So and honestly, Keegan Masson says it in an article. He brings up a few guys and what they need to improve on. Brendan Little is he's not getting ahead, and his stuff isn't playing as well when he's behind, and he's trying to work from behind. So it's very simple. Get ahead. I mean, that's bread and butter of baseball. Get ahead, get strike one. Your chances of getting this guy out increase a shitload.
Yeah, 100%, dude. Now, the one guy that he really highlights a lot in this article, Keegan, is Louis Varland, and that to me is someone that we need to get going, and Keegan highlights that as well, because when you traded for Louis Varland, that was supposed to be your, I don't know, Jimmy Garcia replacement. Like, this is your setup man now. And that was the thought. That was the intention. It's like he is going to lay the groundwork, set everything up in that 8th inning, and then Jeff Hoffman's going to be able to come in the 9th, clean things up, done and dusted, we walk away with a win. And that's just not been the case. And whilst we have our problems with Jeff Hoffman and Brendan Little and all these other guys, Louis Varland, ever since coming over here, has not been good. I've been thinking that it's potentially him tipping, and John Schneider actually talks a little bit about that. He's saying we're looking at that, we're thinking about it, because you watch him pitch, and his stuff still looks electric. Like, that fastball just explodes off of his arm to the strike zone, but people are still hitting it. They're still managing to get themselves on base. So I do wonder if he's tipping. I also think that there's an issue with the location of some of his pitches, and that's something that Schneider also says, is that even when you have the best fastballs in baseball, if it is middle, it's still going to be, for some of these better hitters, like, they're going to be able to hit that, and that's definitely been happening with Louis Varland. I really need to see him get going, because this to me is a game changer. When you have Louis Varland on, hot, doing what he did with Minnesota, like, that is just so huge. We forget that when we traded for him, this was an individual who all season long, by the way, had a lot of innings under his belt, but all season long had an ERA under 2, under 2. And then ever since coming over to Toronto, that thing has just skyrocketed, gone through the roof. So that to me is, like, if I'm thinking about an X factor right now in the bullpen, something that can make one of the biggest swings from where we are right now to where we need to be, it's getting somebody like a Louis Varland locked in and really going.
Sure thing. And, to go all the way back and talk about the point you made about his fastball throwing over the zone, like, look, he could throw. You could throw it in the zone, but it's about sequencing too. And I think that's what him and the catching duo of Heineman and Kirk. Like, he's a new guy. You're still trying to figure out like what he wants in a certain place, and that's a whole other element. Like, it's easier to do it when you have a starting pitcher. You can sit down and go through the whole game plan and like blah blah blah. But like when it's a bullpen guy and you're coming in, okay, like I need to learn as a catcher like what am I calling to make sure that this guy, this stuff will play in this count. And, he is missing a little bit. Can he be more fine and finessing? For sure. But, it's getting that sequencing down and whatnot. I think that's going to take some time. And, we don't have a lot of time left. He's probably got like 8 more appearances until 8 or 11 more appearances to the end of the season. But, that's going to have to be a thing. So for Kirk or Heineman, they got to learn like maybe not calling this pitch in this count because people are sitting on it. Or alternatively, if he's tipping, it doesn't matter. So it's about the good sequencing, I think, is going to help him kind of figure it out. And he's got to work with that with the catchers.
Well, speaking about catchers calling the proper pitch for their pitcher, I see somebody in the chat right now asking us our thoughts on the Framber Valdez stuff. And actually, you know what? I do want to take a moment and just touch on that because that was insane. But before we do, I want to give a quick shout out here to the sponsor of said video. Shout out to Budweiser, everybody. They are up there somewhere. Batters up and the Buds are stepping up to the plate. Budweiser is encouraging all Buds to make time for baseball this summer. Moments with your Buds are priceless. Savor the summer weather while cheering on your Toronto Blue Jays. They are the official partner of the Toronto Blue Jays as well as they are the official partner of Blue Jays Today. Baseball is better with your Buds. Limited edition Toronto Blue Jays Budweiser cans are now available at your local LCBO. Please drink responsibly and, of course, must be legal drinking age. That was nuts for those of you who have, or I guess haven't seen what we're referring to here, but completely off the topic of the Toronto Blue Jays, the New York Yankees were in a big-time series with the Houston Astros earlier this week. This was serious for the American League and just the standings as a whole. Framber Valdez is getting himself into a jam, and his catcher, he's taken a while on the bump, and his catcher waves to him to try to tell him to step off, right? He wants him to step off. But then Framber Valdez, with the bases loaded, does not listen to his catcher, throws the pitch anyways, and it gets cranked, over the wall and grand slam, and that's effectively game over now for the Houston Astros. Following pitch, he intentionally crosses up his catcher and throws at his catch. I mean, not only like that is so ridiculous because his catcher was trying to save you. His catcher was literally trying to save you from giving up the grand slam because he clearly saw that you weren't on it or that wasn't the right pitch or whatever. You threw it anyways because you're a hothead, got rocked, and then threw a temper tantrum at your catcher.
Yeah, thank God he's not on my team. I like Framber Valdez from a pitching standpoint. But if you saw, like, let's say Chris Bassett do that to Kirk, I'm immediately like, dude, Chris Bassett, like, he's not a dick, but like, you're a dick. You know what I mean? Like, that's terrible. So, yeah, the fact that the team has got that going on, that's ugly.
It's truly ridiculous, and I just think it's so crazy too. Not only is it that it's your teammate, but it's also like he was trying to help you, dude. Yeah. He was telling you to like step off because he saw that, I could understand. Well, I couldn't even understand this regard, but if he was actively messing with you, all right, maybe this is a different scenario. But yeah, exactly. Like we're teammates, right? Okay, your catcher is trying to help you out of the jam. You decide to throw it anyways. You get rocked, and then you take it out on him. If I was that catcher, I literally would have got up there and I would have said something, or I would have said something. Yeah, I'm not catching you anymore. Like how can I catch you anymore? I can't trust you. You know. So
that's why after the game they had that meeting and he apologized, but probably had to.
Of course he had to.
You're in a pennant race. You're trying to go deep in the postseason. Like he's the number one pitcher. You can't be doing that.
Yeah, and, he cannot be doing that at all, man. Bad look for him. Bad look for baseball as a whole. Some might even say that it was quite the troll job there by Mr. Framber Valdez, which is a great transition because it is the end of the month or start of the new month. And I know that we got some people in here who have been dying to find out who the next troll of the month is going to be. Let's get some guesses into the chat right here, everybody, while the graphic plays.
This is my swan, yeah, donkey, this is my swan, yeah.
Yeah, this is JF's Swamp this month, everybody. Shout out to JF. You know what? Honestly, I didn't want to give it to him, but the fact of the matter is, JF, for those of you who do not know, is in every stream. He watches start to finish until the end, and he busts our balls like nobody's business. I think it's in good spirits. I personally like him. I know Adam does as well.
Oh, yeah.
But he deserved this win. So, JF, you put in the work. We saw you do it all month long. The second that Troll of the Month became a thing, you said that is going to be my award, and that is not lost on us. So we appreciate your trolling, and it is it's not missed here at Blue Jays Today.
No, I always love it. Like, you know, before we'll go live, we'll see JF's even in the pre-show, and he's already trolling. We're not even on the camera. This guy's already trolling. So JF, part of the work. He's not. I don't even know. Are you in the chat right now? You wanted to happen
he
right
was
away.
at one point. I don't know if he's still there, but
Apparently he had things to do. He wanted to
Yes.
see right off the bat. He's like, I got things to do. So
exactly.
Okay.
So
Okay,
yeah, shout out to him right there. And then the follow-up, as you guys know, we also have to have a fan of the month.
Woo.
I thought that there was going to be audio with that, but I guess the audio did not want to play. But the fan of the month, everybody, is a special individual who actually went out of their way to take Adam and I to a ball game. This is a photo of us at that ball game with Jordan Keats. So massive shout out there to Jordan Keats. As you can see, this was it was that crazy ball game. Do you remember what the final score was? I can't fully remember, but it was a nuts one. It was like back and forth. Yeah, it was
8. They were down 8-5. It was the game where Barcher had the 2 RBI double off the wall. That and Springer slides in, he screams. That was crazy. And then also too, like we were at some great seats where like you see Dalton Varsho crashing into the wall like right next to us, feeling the thud. Like it was a dope game.
Yeah. No, that was an electric game. So massive shout out here. Oh, there we go with the swamp again, everybody. But massive shout out to both JF and Jordan Keats. You guys earned it. We appreciate you. We appreciate this whole community. Y'all are truly the best. Let's move on, folks, and just take a look at how close it is. 3 games up of the New York Yankees, who are 8-2 in their last 10. Their run differential is, it is significant. They're at plus 143, so Michael K's got to be feeling pretty good about himself right now. But Toronto still has the edge. We are still 3 games up, and ultimately we do control our own destiny. Now, we're going to get into all of what New York is doing well right now, what Toronto's doing well. But before we do, I made this little thing right here just to highlight what this series could mean for us. All right, I'm assuming in this graphic that the New York Yankees, after this series, will win 70% of their ball games. Okay, they have 19 ball games remaining, and when we look over at their schedule, they got some tough ones here against Detroit and then Boston. But then it's easy stuff against Minnesota, Baltimore, the White Sox, and then Baltimore again. So I'm assuming that with the way that they're playing, and they're playing really good baseball, New York will win 70% of these ball games after this series, which works out to be about 13 wins. So they would go 13-6. That's the assumption. If that's the case, if Toronto Blue Jays sweep this weekend, if we sweep, we're pretty much good, everybody. We're pretty much good. Okay, we would be 6 games up of the New York Yankees. This doesn't factor in the Red Sox, so maybe they're still in the mix too, but we would be 6 games up of those New York Yankees. And if the Yankees win 70% of their ball games, winning or going 13-6, then the Jays, to hold on to the division, all we'd have to do is go 7-12. Very reasonable. Very
good
reasonable.
enough, Nick. That's not good enough.
Well,
better.
Okay, well, would I want us to go 7-12? Absolutely not. But it would be nice to know that we could, and we could still get away with it. Option number 2, Toronto Blue Jays go 2-1. We win 2 in New York. We feel really good about it. You know, you take care of business. If that happens, the Blue Jays would then be 4 games up of the New York Yankees in the division. And if the Yankees go 13-6, like we're assuming, Toronto would need to go 10-9 to hold on to that lead, to hold on to that division. I don't actually know if they might even need to only win 9 there, because I might not have been factoring in the fact that we have the tiebreaker on them as well. But just know, if we go 2-1, things are looking pretty good. If the Blue Jays play .500 ball for the remainder of the season, then the division should theoretically be theirs, assuming Boston doesn't go on some crazy tear. So that's where we're at right there. If we sweep or if we win the series, both very good outcomes. This is where things get difficult, though. If we go 1-2, which, quite honestly, I think I'm probably going to inevitably predict we end up doing when we get to the prediction section. But if we go 1-2 in New York, we would be 2 games up over the New York Yankees. And if they win 13 games, we would have to go 12-7 to hold on to that lead, to hold on to the division right there. So that's what that would mean. And then the worst possible case scenario, of course, we get swept. And if we get swept, the lead is gone. We are tied with them. We have no games up on them at all, and we would likely need to go 14-5 to win the division. So that is where we are at right now. Sweeping and or winning the series is obviously huge, and it almost locks in the division. But if we lose this series and or get swept, that's when things get really difficult. And as you can see, like, the swing between getting swept and sweeping is just absolutely so massive as to what it means for this whole season, for what it means for the division.
So can we take a look at the Blue Jays schedule really quick? Because I want to play, if we're playing hypothetical, let's play some hypothetical right here.
100%. Quick shout out here to Tanner with a $279 donation. End of year exams are always stressful. Go Jays, go. End of year exam. You're at end of year exam. Oh, I guess he referring.
Summer courses or something? I don't know.
Either that or he's referring to the fact that this is the end of year exam for the Toronto Blue Jays, which it certainly does feel like. I mean, this is like this is their big test, everybody. This is their big test. You look over at the Toronto Blue Jays remaining schedule. They got the Yankees. Okay, so they're in New York, and this is definitely going to be the toughest series of the remainder of the season. They have New York. Then they come back home, and they get Houston. Also going to be very difficult, but we're at home, and we know that the Blue Jays play great at home, so that's a positive. Baltimore, theoretically, should be easy for us. These ones are tricky, because we have 7 games against Tampa Bay, who, when you look at their record, you look at what they've done this year, you look at their team statistics, I mean, they're not great, but it's Tampa Bay.
But they're looking to make the playoffs. Like, I think they're, if I'm not mistaken, I believe they're 2.5 games back.
So they're 71-69 right now, and that would put them. You're right, 2 games back. So they're actually more in the mix than I thought they were. To be completely honest. So
them and Kansas City are both 2 games back. So like, other than the Orioles, we're facing everybody who wants to win right now. And like, we just faced the Reds, who were trying to save their season, and we actually effectively ended it. But they were trying to save their seasons too. So let's play hypothetical right here. And obviously, I'm already gonna spoil it. I'll probably say we only win 1 this weekend. We're in New York. They're a hot team right now. We take 1, we're probably happy. So, and based on your graphic, you said we'd have to go 12-5 the rest of the way?
That would be the math.
That would be the math.
No. That would be, it would be 12 and, sorry, let me bring it up again. It would be 12-7 is what would need to happen. Although I think that might not even factor in the tiebreaker that we have, because if we went 12-7, and that's assuming New York goes 13, I think we'd still actually win the division in that regard. So 11. We need to win 11 games. If we lose this series, we at least need to win 11 games. 12 games probably secures it for you.
Yeah. So if I'm just looking, then we got 2 more homestands. You want to try to take 4 out of the 6 homestands. twice, so that's 8 wins right there, and then you got to get 3 on the road if you're talking 11. So
yeah,
you got to take 1 of the Royals and then 2 out of Tampa Bay. That's kind of hard because you got Houston, who's great. Boston is going to be pesky. They're going to be trying to knock us down.
Yeah,
and then
for
obviously
sure.
the Rays are always hard. So that right there you go. So like a realistic, we only win 1 game in this series. Blue Jays have to play perfect, and with everything that we just talked about before, with the bullpen being weak, you're going to need either the bullpen to bounce back, which seems really almost like a far away land that like the Blue Jays actually will be playing with a good bullpen, but you're going to need the offense to still be great against all these teams. Going to be some hard baseball, ladies and gentlemen.
That's the thing. Like, if they lose this series on the weekend, you effectively have made it so that you can't blink for the rest of the year. That's assuming, of course, that New York keeps playing at the level that they're playing at. Because if New York tapers off, that would definitely make things a bit easier for Toronto. But they are playing incredible ball right now. And I'll use that to transition and just talk a little bit about what they're doing well right now in comparison to the Jays. We tweeted this out this morning. Blue Jays versus the Yankees series could define the AL East race. In the last 30 days, this is how we match up. In terms of OPS, basically identical. They have us by 3 OPS points, but that is such a minor metric. The offense is hot on both sides, New York and Toronto. This is where they get us, though. Starting pitcher ERA has been phenomenal for the New York Yankees. Their starters are going deep, and they are delivering them quality ball games. And their bullpen, whilst it actually hasn't been incredible, 4.17 ERA from the Yankee bullpen in the last 30 days, that's fine. That's kind of like an average, maybe slightly below average bullpen, around the middle of the pack. Mm-hmm. Blue Jays are not average. We are very clearly at the bottom with a 5.38 ERA from the bullpen. So just looking at what have you done for me lately, the Yankees have the slight edge with their pitching. Now, their offense, it is lethal, everybody. We think about that New York Yankees lineup, and you think about Aaron Judge, and then you go, well, who else is really there? There's a lot of individuals, folks, that are playing good ball. This is like the last... Sorry, jump in, Adam.
I was saying, like, you got, like, Trent Grisham popping off right now. We broke it down on a Bad for Baseball show this morning. Like, this guy has an 840 OPS this season. Where did that come from? Right, and like to kind of preface what I'm about to say here is like we always look at the Blue Jays like, wow, we got all these breakout guys. These guys are supporting Vlad, like because Vlad was the only guy last year. Well, Judge is like our Vlad. Weak comparison, I know. But you also have these guys who are supporting, like Trent Grisham coming out of freaking nowhere, Ben Rice coming up and actually being a locked-in dude in the 2-hole. Then you got Cody Bellinger being solid. Stanton, you want to talk about 35-year-olds bouncing back? That's your guy right there. Jazz Chisholm Jr., he's been a solid contributor. So like you have a top 6 right there that matches the Blue Jays top 6 easily.
Yeah, and looking at their season-long numbers right here, this is the Yankees. 840 OPS, 815, 1.1 from baseball god himself, 833, 971, 838. That's the top 6 of the Blue or the Yankee lineup. And I do believe that is just pound for pound, a little bit better than the top 6 on the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, you could argue that we have them beat on the hitters 7 through 9 because the Blue Jays, 7 through 9 hitters have been the best in baseball. But this is a good offense. This is a good lineup. The one slightly positive thing, and I see people in the chat talking about this, is that Jazz Chisholm Jr. could be out for a game or two. He bruised both of his knees yesterday. So that's something. We don't know how many games he would be out for. He could be out for the series. Could just be, again, they might push him to go if they, like if it's the rubber match on, Sunday and they need to win that ball game. Like I could see them forcing him in there. But one slightly positive thing that maybe they're not going to have Jazz Chisholm Jr. because he has been very good recently. The one thing that we got to highlight here, though, is that pitching staff, because the Yankees pitching has been really good, man. These starters are coming out of nowhere, and there really isn't any walkover person. I mean, the worst starter in here is Will Warren. He's got a 4.28 ERA over 141 innings. Those are very comparable numbers to Chris Bassett or Jose Barrios or, Max Scherzer on the season. Like, though, not the innings. He's got a lot more innings than Max Scherzer, but the ERA, I mean, that's very comparable to some of our guys in the rotation.
Yeah.
That's the worst guy that they have. Everybody else in here is really good.
Yeah, we're not facing Will Warren this week.
No,
so
we're not. We're not. Exactly. Like, we're facing the good ones.
we're facing all their good guys, and we're rolling out Chris Bassett. So that's kind of an unfair advantage. Now, the one thing that I've noticed, and, their bullpen isn't the greatest. Like, there are weak holes. The Blue Jays' key to victory here, number one, I think your offense got to keep rolling. But assuming we play exactly what we do, we have to work down those starting pitchers, and we have to get to the bad part of their bullpen that they're playing bad over the last 14 days, like Paul Blackburn. Ryan Yarborough's coming back from injury. We got to get that guy. Leiter, you got to get him. You got to get Tim Hill. You got to go get Devin Williams, who was blowing up the game against the Astros against the one game that they lost. That's got to be the game plan. And it's that's always the Blue Jays game plan. Like, they always work pitchers and they always try to get them out of the game, but it's going to be even more prevalent to do it in game one and then get to the bad part of the bullpen later on in the series.
Yeah, exactly right. And I mean, I do believe that the offense is going to need to put up significant numbers this weekend for the Jays, because with the way that our pitching is playing, Yankees certainly will do so. Now, we're going to continue with this breakdown, but before we do that, I do want to give another shout out to the second sponsor of this video, Pizza, everybody. This evening is our Pizza watch along party, so I'm going to be live following along with this game. I also decided that I'm going to be doing a impromptu live stream for tomorrow's game as well. I just think that this is such a key and important series that we got to be live for it. But shout out to Pizza. You want to try their new chicken tenders today, made with 100% Canadian farm-raised chicken and cooked to crispy golden perfection. Try them dip or sauced up, mix and match. They got a bunch of different dipping sauces: mango, pineapple, chili crisp, chimichurri ranch, sweet and spicy bang bang, which is Adam and I's favorite. Honestly, the mango one is hotter than you expect, but it's got like a nice sweet tang to it. Everybody deserves pizza, so let me know in the chat down below, are you going to be rocking with some pizza tonight, as I certainly will be, in what is going to be a key and pivotal first game against those New York Yankees.
Also, I want to respond to Mike here in the chat saying, let's stop thinking the worst of Bassett. I don't think necessarily we're thinking the worst of Bassett. I think we're just saying comparatively to the rest of the rotation, he is the quote-unquote worst. Like, he's not a bad pitcher. He's still solid. He gives you innings. He gives you a chance. But, if you're matching up against their best, it's going to look like you got to do a little bit more work.
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, flashing over to the Toronto Blue Jays as a whole, lineup is very comparative, or the lineup can be compared, and you can make arguments that this is a better lineup than the New York Yankees in terms of depth. And this graphic over here, but the most lethal offense kind of proves that. So even though the Yankees have been really good in the last 30 days, since the All-Star break, Blue Jays have been the best. That being said, though, it's not like this isn't the difference maker here. I think, honestly, the big thing is going to be, what does our bullpen look like this series against New York? Because if our game plan is, let's go get to their bullpen, which makes sense. I mean, their starters have been really good. We got to chase them from the game early. Let's go get to their pen, which hasn't been playing that well. I think that game plan is even more amplified over there on the other side for New York, because they're looking at our starters and going, okay, these are good starters, right? Like, they're not as good as our guys, but still solid. But then they're looking at the pen, and Aaron Judge is salivating at the idea of seeing Jeff Hoffman in the pen. I mean, Jeff Hoffman gives up hard hit contact to everybody. Can you, like, Aaron Judge is going to send that baseball 600 fucking feet, for crying out loud. So
more intentional walks, please, John Schneider. Thank you. Like,
I genuinely don't think you throw to Judge ever. Really, you can't.
No, you can't. And I know sometimes earlier in the year, John Schneider will avoid the walk when it is prevalent. Like, there's 2 outs, there's a guy on second. Like, come on, just put him on second. Just put him on first base. Just put him on first base. Sometimes he won't do it earlier in the games. I don't care how loud Yankee Stadium boos you, John. Do it.
Right.
Do not face this guy at all. He's the best hitter in baseball, especially when we have some of our pen guys up.
How many times this series do you think that Aaron Judge gets intentionally walked? Understanding that behind him, If there's no Jazz behind him, it's probably going to be Cody Bellinger and Stanton. How many times do you see Aaron Judge getting intentionally walked?
I could see if it's Cody Bellinger being a lefty, and we're going to be using a lot of our lefties. We're going to be using the Brendan Littles of the world. I could see him getting walked quite a lot. Walk Judge and then put in the lefty against, flip him around or, put in the lefty against him. I could see it happening, and knowing that this is a very important series, 4 times.
Yeah, I think the chat's saying right now at least once per game. I'm going to say that Aaron Judge, I'm going to put it down right now. We are going to intentionally walk Aaron Judge 5 times this series because I think that it is such a crucial moment for this team. I think that John Schneider realizes that that's just not somebody that you want to deal with, especially when you're thinking about some of the guys in the bullpen who have been giving up loud contact. Hoffman's one of them. Varland's another one. I just don't want those guys throwing fastballs to Aaron Judge because ultimately that's an individual who is just going to touch it with his baseball bat at Yankee Stadium, and he's going to send that shit, 600 feet over into, what do they call it, Judge's corner or the jury or... I don't know I forget what it's called, but you know what I'm talking about, okay? Like, that's where that baseball is going to go. I see Ground Out Guerrero here saying 12 times. I mean, like, genuinely, though, like, just don't. Do not throw to this man, because he is going to send that shit out of here.
Yeah, this is the one time I'll give you bullpen. You can throw it out of the zone and not.
Yes. Actually, you know what? Every time we put Brendan Little out there, Brendan Little might be the guy to go up against Aaron Judge.
It might be. That's the thing. Brandon Little can't live in the zone against Aaron Judge.
Exactly.
He's got to live out of the zone.
He won't. We know he won't. So if Aaron Judge wants to chase his knuckle curve in the dirt, like, be my guest. But Brendan Little is the intentional walk without it being the intentional walk. Yeah. All of that being said, though, it is now time to officially predict this series. It is the biggest series of the year, arguably the toughest series of the year, and certainly the most impactful. And like we've already highlighted, the range of outcomes here is massive. If we sweep them, basically we just won the AL East. If we get swept, it is anyone's division. Looking at Game 1, guys, this is the game that we're going to be live for later this evening, 7:05 p.m. Kevin Gausman going up against Schlittler. Now, at the beginning of the season, when I saw this guy, you look at his name, you can make some jokes. The fact of the matter is, Schlittler is no laughing matter anymore, team. This guy has been putting on a clinic. Recently, he has been incredible. In the month of August, he gave up how many earned? That's 6 earned runs.
In 33 innings. Like, that's disgusting.
That is disgustingly good right there, with a whip under 1. So that's what Schlittler is doing right now. And Gausman, I mean, we know about Kevin Gausman. Gausman has his great starts, the starts where you're like, oh, this looks like Gausman again. And then he's got those other ones where it just kind of comes crashing down. In the month of August, he also gave, I'm surprised. He cooked in August. He gave up 15. I was looking at the wrong stat. He gave up 15. I was like, wait a second. I thought he did significantly worse than that. But yeah, he gave up 15 earned runs in the month of August. So Schlittler obviously on a bit of a heater. Gausman, he can play great. The last outing was against Milwaukee. 7 innings pitched, 1 earned run. The one previous to that, he gave up 4 earned runs to Miami. So Gausman kind of all over the place this season. Thoughts on this game playing in Yankee Stadium? Probably no Jazz Chisholm Jr., Gausman, Schlittler.
Well, we faced Schlittler back on July 22nd, and it was a no decision by his part. He gave up he pitched 5 innings, gave up 7 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks. So, we still do damage. I see Drew saying, well, he was facing shit teams. Well, yeah, that's fair. Everyone that isn't the Blue Jays looks like a poopy team. But, we can do damage, but they also can do damage against Kevin Gausman. Also, one thing to note, I guess, in this series, the one minor, advantage we have is they didn't have a rest day. They finished their game against the Astros yesterday, and we had a rest day. So our bullpen will be fully rested, and I'm looking at their pen right now, and they're not that rested. They've got, you had David Bednar. He threw 33 last night. Luke Weaver's thrown twice in a row. These are the best guys. Devin Williams got the loss, 34 wins on Wednesday. Fernando Cruz with the worst. So, they have a lot of their guys kind of banged up. So with that being said, like I almost want to say that we're going to get their bad bullpen guys. So hear me out, chat. We're going to get their bad bullpen guys. We've seen Schlittler before. It's the first game. They're back home. They're traveling. We have had an off day. I'm gonna say we win this one, but barely. And it's because we're going to get to that back end of the bullpen, and that's where we're going to do a lot of damage.
Okay, I hear you, and you're not concerned. I mean, you are concerned, but you're thinking it'll be fine for today. Like our bullpen will
we can unload
give
our
up
best
the
guys.
Game.
We can do our best. We can do our best.
Exactly. Because you say you're our best guys, but our best guys are not playing like our best guys right now. Massive shout out here to Dave Popes very quickly. 17-month member. Huge weekend tonight. Guys, let's get them while they're tired. That's got to be the play, right? That's the one thing I think the one argument that you can make as to why the Toronto Blue Jays might be able to maybe even win this series is, New York's a little fatigued. We got that off day. Maybe that plays into things, especially at the beginning of this series. All that being said, though, I am going to pick the New York Yankees to win tonight. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that the offense comes out swinging and can deliver it to Schlittler. But ultimately, Kevin Gausman has been on a bit of a roller coaster of a season. And even if he puts up a dominant outing, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're still going to win, because then, you got 3 innings to get through with the bullpen. So I do think that we're going to lose this one. Yankees offense is probably going to... They're going to come. I think they're going to hit a lot this weekend. I think we're going to hit a lot too, but I guess just not as much. So my prediction: Yankees win this ball game. You're saying Blue Jays take game 1.
Yep.
Game 2, we got Max Scherzer, Mad Max, friend of Blue Jays today, and Luis Gil on the bump. Luis Gil hasn't pitched too many innings this year, but now that he's back, he's looking pretty good. He's got a 3.68 ERA on the season. Scherzer, he's had a couple outings now that, you don't really... You don't love. He's not as hot as he was. The previous outing against Milwaukee, he gave up 4 earned. Then the previous one before that, he gave up 4 earned as well. Maybe you can throw that one in the trash because the Jays were up by so much. So potentially he was just pumping the zone at that point, and they started sending some. But that one against Milwaukee definitely wasn't a great outing for him. Now he's in Yankee Stadium going up against the New York Yankees. Thoughts on Game 2?
Yeah, Max is kind of hitting a little scuffle right here, but you're right. You can make a couple arguments. Well, it's because it was against the Milwaukee Brewers. In Minnesota, I think he pitched a lot better than he did. But then you got Luis Gil on the other side of things, and he's just been consistent as holy hell. Like, I'm looking right now, he's gone 5 innings practically every single time since August 9th. He goes, and sometimes he even pitches into the 6th. Most he's given up is 2 earned runs. Doesn't give up a lot of hits either. Granted, some people can say that they're against worse teams like the Nationals, the Cardinals, and the White Sox. But I'm going to give him some credit. I'm going to say the other shoe drops here because I did take game 1, and I'm going to say it's going to be a tight one and we lose game 2.
Okay. So Yankees win this one. For me, I'm flip-flopping. I got Mad Max coming out, showing up in the big moments. We see Crazy Fish in here saying Max lives for these moments. That's true, dude. Let's not forget, he's got that dog in him. All right, we are talking about Max goddamn Scherzer right here.
But he had a back problem. He got pulled early last game.
Well,
right?
he's 41 years old. Now. He's got tons of problems. All right, but it doesn't even matter to this guy. Okay, he's just an animal. I say the Blue Jays win this one. Max Scherzer is going to come out and give us, at the very least, a winnable outing. Offense puts up against Luis Gil. I think we'll need to drop at least 7 to be able to win this ball game, but I say that the Blue Jays offense is capable. Lose game 1, win game 2, and you say the reverse to that. Final game right here. I know we've done it before, but it's not like it gets that much easier to hit off of Max Fried. He's got a 2.98 ERA on the year, 15-5. And we got Chris Bassett on the bump, who I think that you could make an argument, and this is I'm not trying to, I saw people in there earlier saying, get off Chris Bassett. Not trying to say that, he's bad, because this is still a very serviceable MLB pitcher, but you could argue that he is the lowest in the Blue Jays rotation at this current juncture. Bassett, Fried, final game. I'm hopeful that this will be for a rubber match. That's assuming that we win either game 1 or game 2. What do you think is going to happen in this one?
I think it's going to be high scoring. We faced Fried 3 times this year, if you can believe it or not. That's a lot. First time was back in April when we weren't good. He shut us out for 6 innings. But the last 2 were both in July, where we got him for 6 innings, 4 earned runs, and then again 5 1/3, another 4 earned runs. So I think if everything's staying true here, we should be able to tag him quite a bit. But we're also facing the Yankees offense, and they can tag Bassett, and it's always a hit or miss start for him. He usually ends up doing decent, but at the end of the day, I think that if we get to the bullpen, our bullpen's probably going to be tired by that point. We might not be making the best decisions, and this is where I say we lose, because I said we're going to lose the series before.
Right.
So we lose it right here on Sunday.
So looking back at Max Fried's starts in August, he started off the month pretty rough. He was giving up 4 earned runs, then 7 earned runs to St. Louis. But then he finished the month, and he was looking really solid. So he was up against Boston, went 6 scoreless. Then he was up against Washington, went 7 innings with 1 earned run. And then he just pitched against Houston, went 7 innings, gave up 1 earned run. So Boston and Houston, you could definitely argue, have good offenses, and Max Fried delivered right there. Yeah, man, I desperately want to say that we're going to tag him and we're going to win, and that's just the fan in me talking, though. Like, that's literally just pure bias. I think that when you're really evaluating what they've done recently, comparatively speaking to the Toronto Blue Jays, they're playing better. That's just the simple fact of the matter. They are playing better baseball than Toronto is right now. They have their problems, but we have bigger problems. And with how deep their lineup looks today, with how good their starting pitching is performing compared to our starting pitching, I think we're going to win 1 game here. We're going to lose 2. If we get swept, holy shit, like that, you just can't afford to get swept. You can afford to lose this series and still go on to win the division. You can still do that, but you cannot, for the love of God, get swept by the New York Yankees. So that's number 1 for me. Like, just please avoid the sweep. If we can win tonight, I will be feeling so much better about everything.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it is a good. There's a chance that we can win this series. Like I think about that last game too, and like if we can tag Fried pretty good and get into the bad part of their bullpen, like their bullpen's not great either, guys. There is a chance if the offense shows up, but that's gonna kind of be the key for me. Is the offense has got to show up if we want a chance to win this series. If not, we only win 1, and that's unfortunate.
That is our prediction for the upcoming series, which we will be live for tonight and on Saturday. Now, we're going to get to some of your mailbag questions, but before we do, massive shout out to the final sponsor of this video, everybody. This segment is brought to you by Greta Bar. Not only a great spot to watch the game or play in the arcade with great street food, but it's got, a bunch of pop-ups in there. It's also a great spot for your upcoming team building or corporate events. So if you have anything like that, and, birthday party or like some corporate, I don't know, those weird corporate bonding things, go bond over at Greta. You guys can drink. It's a lot of fun. For more info, go to greta.com, gretabar.com, excuse me. It's at 590 King Street West. It is honestly an awesome time, so highly recommend you go check out Greta Bar, guys. It's the spot. We do have a couple questions in the mailbag. Mailbag says, page not found, says Drew Gamer. Okay, that sucks. Well, if you do happen to have any questions then for the mailbag, ask in the chat right now. We'll take about 5 minutes to kind of answer some lingering questions. Quick shout out here to Crazy Fish, who says mailbag link doesn't work, says page not found. Weird. Okay, we will have to rectify that at some point. I did already have one question in here that was already posted from the mailbag. So quick shout out here to Chris. Fun one. Which Jay would you choose to grab a beer with and talk about ball and life? One Blue Jay, you get to grab a beer with him, you get to talk about anything. Who are you doing it with?
Yeah, I've thought about this before, and it's the same kind of answer. I would love to sit down with George Springer and talk ball with him. Guy who's been around for a while, and he seems like a great guy to talk to. Grabbing a beer with him, he works so hard. Like, well, I wonder what he feel like when he's kicking back and relaxing. So for me, like, yeah, I would love to talk to George Springer. I think he's an A1 human being.
Yeah, I do think Springer would be pretty sweet. I don't know if this is a boring answer because we've actually already talked to him, but I would love to get a beer with Max Scherzer. I mean, after speaking to that guy and actually, like, you know, hearing how he operates, how he thinks about things, can you imagine actively sitting down with Mad Max and, like, really diving in, you know, like getting to pick his brain about shit that he wouldn't say on you know, public platform, for instance? Because we were asking him some stuff and he's like, I don't think I can reveal that. But, you know, you're having a beer with him, like, obviously the truth is going to be coming out for sure. Not saying he wasn't telling the truth, but there's obviously some inner stuff that, you know, he doesn't want to reveal about the clubhouse. And just, like, in general, he'd have so many good stories about his time in baseball, about everything. So, yeah, for me, I mean, I would love to talk about Mr. Max Scherzer right there.
Yeah, like even at the end of that podcast when he was bringing up George Springer, like he was trying to find a good one he could say, and like even that one's like hilarious how like they all had to figure out what a parabola was to go and pass a concussion test. Like that's hilarious, and that's just like scratching the surface level. Like I can imagine that. There's so many good stories. There's
got to be so much good stuff right there. Now, I was looking at some other questions as well, and we got one in here from, you guessed it, Drew Gamer, who was always the question asker in here. Now, he prefaces all of this and says, I believe it's a 70% chance Bo re-signs with Toronto. We've had a lot of things going for us. His best friend Vladdy's here to stay. The Jays are top 5 team in baseball. We're on a deep playoff run. It all makes sense. What do you guys think the odds of Bo re-signing are and how much? This has been a question that's been thrown to us a ton of times, and especially I think it's so pertinent now because Bo Bichette is playing like he's just on demon mode, dude. He is feasting at the dish every single day, going truly insane mode. At this current juncture of time, how much money do you see Bo Bichette getting? And if you had to put a number on it, where are the Toronto Blue Jays in terms of percentage points for him to return here?
Yeah, percentage points of him returning, I am actually leaning more in the above 50% category. I would go as far as, I would go as far as to say 60, 65%. I mean, like all the points Drew brought up, like he said, I want to play with Vladdy for the rest of my career. I want to stay with one organization for the rest of my career. The big question is, and then the other kind of thing was, well, are we going to be a winning team? Is it going to be a good clubhouse? Clubhouse vibes are immaculate. We're a winning team right now. Hopefully we have a good playoff run. I think that odds will go up. And guess what? Who's going to pay you? Rogers can pay you. Like they have come out and they've said that's a priority. We're going to bring back Bo. So for me, like everything's checking all the boxes. The only part of it's just like the doubter in me being like, well, someone's going to offer him more or someone's going to whatever. But like, you know, I think about Bo Bichette as a player. Yes, he leads the league in hits a lot every single year, other than last year. But like other teams, are you going to value the fact that his speed is slowing down and that he isn't the greatest shortstop? The Blue Jays don't care. They want you back. So for me, I'm sitting at a nice 65%. He's going to get over $200 million. The years we'll have to see what the market shapes out to be, but $200 million, 65% for me.
He's definitely getting over $200 million at this point. I mean, you can't be doing what he's doing offensively and not get that, I think. I don't think I'm quite as optimistic as you. I do think that like whenever anybody hits free agency, you have to understand that it's anyone's ball game at this point, and I would not be surprised at all if the Atlanta Braves swooped in there or the LA Dodgers or somebody like that and and made a play for him and gave him a contract that he really likes. Now, I do think that there are a lot of things going for Toronto, but I just think that whenever you hit free agency, anything can happen, and that's ultimately why we did not allow Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to hit free agency, because we didn't want to have any question marks. So I don't really know what my percentage is right now. I want to see where the team finishes, how it all goes down before I can like really put my flag in there. But I think that there is there's a significant chance that he is not a Toronto Blue Jay next year, and that's something that I think a lot of people need to wrap their heads around. Now, final question before we wrap everything up. Massive shout out, by the way, to the 217 legends who have been watching. You guys are the best. We appreciate this community so damn much. Drew Gamer says, mailbag question. If the Jays go exactly 500 and finish with 92 wins, so that's what happens if we go 500 the rest of the way, team. In that case, the Yankees would need to win 16 of 22 games. Red Sox would need to win 15 of 21. Don't forget we have the tiebreaker. Does that make you feel good? So if we go 500, Yankees would still need to win 16 of the 22 ball games. Now, I don't know if that factors in our head-to-head record, like if we get swept in this series or, whatever, right? Because obviously that changes things. But
I think even if we get swept, we still got the tiebreaker, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So that's, all solid things right there. The fact that, if we go 500, we finish with 92 wins definitely does make me feel pretty good.
Yeah, it makes me feel good, but, I remember bringing up a graphic or making a tweet like back in it must have been like June maybe where I was like, if the Blue Jays go 500 runs away, they'll have 92 wins, like exactly that. And I thought to myself, well, that's fine, like that's okay, but now you're not playing your best baseball going to October. So I'd be like, okay, great, like I already knew we were making playoffs a long time ago. I want to get a bye, which I don't know at that point we'll get a bye. I don't know how Houston's going to do. And I want to be playing hot. I want to be playing like the Yankees near the end. So like I'll be happy that I get to watch postseason baseball, but there'll be a little voice in the back of my head that's like, can we win against the best right now? Like I don't really know. Whereas back in July, I'm like, we can beat anybody. And I want to feel that way again.
That's the thing. It definitely makes me feel good that, yes, we could go 500 and still be a playoff team. That's very reassuring. But that just feels like we're going to go 500, be a playoff team, and then get our asses whooped the second that we get there by whomstever we're up against. So it is time to take that next step, right? If we want to win a playoff game, we want to win a playoff series, I want to be going into said playoff series feeling good about this squad, and that means going above 500 the rest of the way. And that also means beating some of the good teams like the Yankees, like the Red Sox, like those Houston Astros. Folks, thanks so much for tuning in to this Friday Blue Jays Today show. I will be live later this evening watching that first game against the New York Yankees. I will also be live for tomorrow's game as well. So Friday and Saturday. It is such a critical series. I would hope to see all of you guys there. Shout out to Adam for tuning in at 5 a.m. in the morning for his time. We certainly appreciate it. But yeah, you guys are all the best.
Yeah, give Nick lots of love, guys. He's good doing some work. I'm going to be at the rehearsal dinner and the wedding tomorrow. I'm literally going to be I'm going to be pulling a Max Scherzer on my phone at the wedding.
Yes.
And I'm emceeing too, so I'm getting up on the board. I'm gonna have the game literally right there.
Yeah, listen, man. It feels like postseason baseball. All right, this is postseason baseball, even though it's not postseason baseball. It is kind of postseason baseball.
It is postseason.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Y'all are the best, and as always, go Jays, go.